Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this ad hoc stream. But on Friday, I did a live stream showing the Workspace module in Drupal core, and the Workspace module allows you to stage content inside of one Drupal site. So you can have multiple versions of the same website and basically have it be unpublished. Oh, 1 second. I gotta get into the right directory here. And in that, we found like a few little, I wouldn't say quirks, it is an experimental module. So in core, we can have experimental modules where we try out new features. Um, and if we change to stage, we can create new content that doesn't show up in the live site. So we can add another basic page, just spam in some text. We're going to add it to the menu and hit save. Let's add another one. Basic page. Oh, did an article. Oh, well. Let's save. And so if we go to home, we see we've got these few items here. And if we open an incognito window and go to the same one, they're not published. And if we go to stage and we go to manage workspace, that is a debugging message I left for myself in another area. We can see that we have a new custom menu link and 2 content items changed. We can click publish content. We want them to go live. And now they're on the live site. So it allows not just making individual drafts and publishing individual drafts, it's entire sets of content at once. But one thing we noticed when going through is I'll actually just go straight to the module code. So if I go to workspaces.module, inside of this here, sorry, 1 second. Let's do, so look up layout builder support. So there's this form alter that does form operations. And inside of its alter here, so if it's in an active workspace, it basically says this must be a workspace form, which for like the workspace entity, it must be a search block or search page form and an exposed form for views. If it's not, it prevents it from running. And I'll show what that means. So let's go back. We're in stage. Let's go back to the site. Let's say I'm a content editor. I'm going to go to my test article, actually my test page. I'm not with the Umami demo, so I don't have layout builder. Let me, this is actually an example right here. So let's say I wanted to install layout builder. Form can only be submitted in the default workspace. So this goes for all forms. So live is the default. Let's get back to there real quick and do layout builder. I should install the Umami demo because it'll probably give me more things to work with, but we'll just start here. And I want to just get to the main problem space, which, you know what? Yeah, I am going to just install the Umami demo. So 1 second. And while the Umami demo installs, I will cover what this workspace module does. Let's go to core or decomposer required, drush. So required drush. I already have my default settings.php with a, get to the bottom, a SQLite driver. So PHP vendor drush, site install, demo, Umami. And we're going to set the account path to admin. Yes. All right, so it created my database. And so one thing that I found out when you're editing a layout with Layout Builder, you can customize the blocks and move them around because that's content. But if you try to modify the section, like any of the layout data, that's considered a form, and a form might modify config. So it's locked down and basically denied. And that meant we couldn't edit our layouts completely. Then Wembassy, Chris from Wembassy, reached out about their Workspace Plus module. that help them with a client with some of their content moderation needs. So we're going to add this module to our project and we're going to test it out. So it has this, it leverages content moderation, which again, I'm glad I'm installing the Umami demo because I don't want to have to make you watch me click through setting all of that up. It's probably longer than waiting for this install process. So an extra step that would mark content as being ready for review by proofreaders. So this is really cool. It allows you to do a partial deploy, from what I understand, and deploy to live. So yeah, you pick what content goes to live and what's been ready for review. So you can deploy just one item. They also said that it adds some support around Layout Builder too. So we'll see how that goes. This is getting ready to run. It's installing the translations and the configuration. So we should be there shortly. I'm going to just quick look at some of the modifications I made. Oh, I added a patch. I did add a patch to this, which allows showing all of the listed changes. I should probably revert those. I'll just revert all of the above. So that way we're back to just Drupal core as is. And our install is complete. So if I go to 127, there we go. If I log in, great. We're here. I'm going to, oh, not people, not reports, extend. Admin modules. Let's install the Workspaces module right away. This Workspaces No Live was something I was working with as well to try to prevent editing on the production site, but I couldn't figure it out. All right, so we're going to have Workspaces installed now. Let's get this module added. They mentioned that you can just do composer require on this package name, but you actually cannot because it's not registered on Packagist or on Drupal.org. So the first thing we're going to do is go to our composer.json. We're going to add it as another repository. So we're going to say type is VCS, and the URL is, we want to give the GitHub URL here, and then we'll be able to require it. All right, so Workspaces is enabled. We've got our live and stage. Let's go ahead and grab this module then. So if we look at the composer.json, this is the package name. So we can do a composer require. So let's do composer require Wembassy Co. Workspace Plus. So now we should see it in our contrib directory. Oh, you know what? It doesn't specify the right type, so I'm going to quick propose a fix and we'll move it. The correct type is Drupal module. So if you're not familiar with this, there's the Composer Installers project, and based off the type, it actually moves it to different areas. Wrong. Specify. This is a Drupal module. Module ensures Composer Installers places it in the correct, not type, destination. All right, let me just propose this change real quick so that way anybody else who wants to try this out doesn't hit the same problem. Let's create the pull request. Great. All right, let's copy it from the vendor directory because that's where it ended up. So if we look at Wembassy Co, we got Workspaces Plus. We just got to drag it into our contrib directory. And it opened all of the pages. Let's close all tabs. So let's real quick look at what the module does. Inside the info YAML, we've got Workspaces and content moderation are dependencies. It's ready for Drupal 9. On hook install. What does this do? Sleep enable revisions for file and media entities. Oh, so it makes file and media revisionable, which I thought media was. So this must be some core support. It looks like it adds some checks of like if it hasn't been added already. Menu, live workspace configuration. In the module, if the hook is workspace access, it removes content moderation's version of it. What's content moderation do? It does a bunch of stuff. Prevents a workspace to be published if there are any pending revisions. Oh, so this is what must allow you to do partial deployments, because it removes this hook. And then in array hook form alter, it removes all the default hooks from workspace, and I'm guessing it implements its own. It overrides the deploy form. So this overrides workspace access to always be allowed. If publish, we've got its own, this is a unreferenced Drupal Workspace Plus entity operations. Why is this not registering? Oh, wait, let me mark directory, cancel exclusion. It was excluded, so that's probably why none of this is being registered as resolvable. So it has its own version of entity operations that it extends for entity preload and pre-save. We're just gonna give it a shot, and we're gonna see what it all does, because there's a lot in here. So let's refresh the settings, the modules form, and let's get to it and install it. So we got Workspace Plus to allow flexible deployments. So this is now converting media and file entities to be revisionable. All right, so we're here. Now let's go to our staging site. Actually, there's a settings form, I believe. So let's go to the live site for the settings form. And just so everybody does know, when it comes to configuration, that's not what Workspaces is for. Drupal has its own way of doing configuration management. Live workspace access. Selected roles will have access to the live workspace. I feel like that should just be... I'm not sure how that setting is quite used. Plus settings form, workspace, settings. Why is Stylent trying to run on my PHP files? So I'm just curious where the settings form is used. So if workflow state add form, the config settings. Oh, so it adds settings for each workflow into here. There is no config schema, so it's a little bit harder to know where it's being used and how, or what are the contents of it. Let's see what this hook does on user login. So if they have access and they're logging in, activate stage works. Oh, so it forces, I see. So what happens on login? We'll create a test for this. So let's change this to administrator. I want to demo this real quick because this is pretty cool. So we're going to save this setting in administrator. Let's go to people, and we'll just take this umami user. I have no idea the password, so we're going to set it to be just password. And they have the role of author. So let's click save. And let's open an incognito window. Log in. I have two private tabs. Oh, I'm going to close this old one. So let's do umami and then password. Unexpected error. That's lovely. The user does not have permission to view that workspace. That's all right. I need to go to permissions. So I guess that's one bug. Let's go to Workspace, and we're going to do authors should be able to, we're just going to say view any, that they can create a new workspace. They can't delete, they can delete their own, they can edit their own, they can view any and view own. Let's say assumes logged in user can view the workspace, otherwise my screen of death. I'm just going to all right, so I fixed this. Now if I refresh the page, okay, but it didn't bring me to the staging environment because stage belongs to admin by default. So I'm just changing this to be full-blown permissions to just avoid any. So let's log out. I'm going to log in. Umami. Password. Okay, so see when I logged in now, once I had proper permissions, it forced me into the stage environment. And that's what this login does here. So workspace, new user login event, and the workspace sets staged workspace. So that's pretty cool. That way when all of your content authors and editors log in, they're in the staging workspace automatically and not in the the live site. Initially, this was our error, is we were getting an owner was admin, and I didn't have it where regular users could view other workspaces. So that's pretty cool in that settings. That's one thing where the settings form doesn't quite make sense, but maybe it does more. Either way, let's move on to going to stage and trying to edit some content and see what other changes are available. So as I said before, one of the problems was when we went to, that's the Spanish translation. Let's go to the English because I do not speak Spanish. That's, oh, jeez. If I would click English, give me the correct path. So this is the about page. Let's go to layout, and we're going to change this to be a new draft inside of stage. And let's see if we can configure the section. Let's add a new section that says we want a 2-column. We want it to be all right. So previously this would have failed. When working on without Workspace Plus, that would have errored because we submitted a form. I'm curious to see entity operations or see form alter. So this so they unset the form alter from Workspace. So this could also be dangerous, just so everybody knows, like this is unsetting everything that Workspace does and completely overrides a lot of the hooks and access. So I use dangerous in air quotes because things could get missed. So if form, so this is their edit form. And then here they check if it's an entity and they do the same entity form alter. Workspace Plus Manager, they do some extra work for the entity type is supported. So it excludes certain ones and it makes it a little bit easier to if something's revisionable. This overrides the base manager. What difference is there? The difference is that it only checks if it's revisionable. And in here, it must also be publishable. So I guess I'm not sure why you would handle if it's publishable as well. Probably be the whole idea of like partial deployments or something's not fully revisionable. So there's that, and then here we go. Form state. So this if string position of form ID is less than 0, which would call for -1, but the problem is that this could also return false. So this could be a little bit hairy, but right here it basically says don't run the original form operations on layout forms. So that's how we get Layout Builder to work. Just so everybody does know, there is a core patch or a core issue to add an API that allows modules to say that their forms are safe in Workspaces. So Layout Builder would be like Layout Builder _ Workspaces _ safe forms, form IDs, something like that. So now we're able to configure this section. And like I said, if you saw in my last stream, this would error out. And this would let us do a, so the about page, I want to add a custom block. Banner block, basic block. New, and call it new custom content. I'm going to add the, titles required. So I'm going to add this block. And we're going to save the layout. And you'll notice that it's now in a state of draft. So there's actually various revisions. The previous revision is still what's live on this, would be live on the site. See, if we go to the Manage Workspace, if we click Publish Content, oh, I missed that overview. Supposedly, view all workspaces. Supposedly this makes it so that way you can choose you can limit who has access to edit content in the live workspace via permissions. That's the one issue I wanted to look at. We'll go back and try that. After you have some items you're looking to deploy, you can then go to deploy content. You'll see a short summary. Is it going to let me deploy that revision now? So I guess that's one thing that I'm not a super fan of, is it allowed me to deploy this revision. Which caused the site to break because I deployed a revision. So I guess that's not, I guess that's a good thing that it's published. Why can't I view it anymore? That should have cleared the cache. But let's do performance. I'm going to open an issue about that. If you deploy a draft revision, the content deploys broken and access is denied to the page. So I completely broke that page. Let me go to the live site and figure out, oh, because I made it a draft in, I published it in the staging workspace. So let me go back to stage. As we saw, I published it. So now I'm going to publish the content changes to live. And we got our page back, but we don't see our block. So block layout, where is it? It's custom block library. We don't see our inline block here. Oh, geez. But I do when logged in. So let's go to layout. I'm going to configure this, save, publish. I haven't tried this before with adding a custom block in Workspaces, but so far I feel like there might be some bugs in this module. I know it's working for their client site. Probably the best benefit is this bit right here, which enables layout builder support. Let's see. I'm gonna go let's edit a workspace because I think it allows editing. No, it's not on the edit form. I'm really curious why we're not seeing that block right here. So let's go open the SQLite file and browser database. So that's the block content table. And, well, actually, block content field data. So we have the entries. Translations affected. You know what? I'm going to cheat. And I feel like we got a missing block deployed. And then I'm going to clear out the block cache for entity, which I don't see any entries for block content. But I will just flush the cache. So far, I think the module just needs a little bit of testing added. Yeah, why can't I view blocks? One thing I will try, let's log in back as the Umami user with password. How do I even get to the about page from here? No way that I know of. So I'm going to manage content. So that's the one part. I don't know if I broke it just because, yeah. So I'm an author, not an editor. Let's go make Umami an editor. And try this out from an editor experience. So here we go. Yeah, so that's so peculiar that the block... Nope, I don't want to translate it. Let's edit. Oh, and you can't... The editor's not able to do the layout builder either on this setup. So let's enable that in permissions. That'd be under layout builder. Nope. Configure layout overrides for users that can do edit. Yes, that I feel like this is an Umami bug. So if somebody wants to make a contribution to core, I feel like the editor role should have this, and same for the author, right? They're writing content. So this would be a cool contribution to Drupal core. And to be able to create and add custom blocks in an override. Okay, so now we can view the layout. We can see this custom block. I'm really curious why this won't show up. But, so we're able to go there. Now, let's say I switch to the live site. So wait. Oh, okay. So it's preventing me from switching. This would be part of their access. The problem is that it's still letting me see the other workspace. So let's open another issue. I'm sorry, Chris, if I'm flooding your issue queue for these things, but this module's pretty cool. User restrictions. Users who cannot edit live still see live as a workspace selection. Let's see. When a user has live restrictions, they can still see live as a option to select, but the form just does nothing. Ajax 403 error. So yeah, so I do like that. That's one thing that, oh, I don't have, then another permission that I have restricted. Bypass. What lets you publish? I actually realized that I don't know. I guess it must be the administer workflows is what lets you publish a workspace. I close this. Let's see. I saw that there was a Workspace Publisher, which extends the base publisher. This does allow passing list of items to publish. So I didn't see this form. I feel like I must be missing a core patch or something to be able to test that partial deployment, which is what I'm really interested in. That you could have stage be quote unquote dirty with a handful of things that need to be published, and you just ship those out, not the entire thing. Yeah, I feel like this isn't, maybe this isn't wired in yet. Yeah, it seems that the module might need a little bit more roughing out. But let's go back to the base publisher and delete these untracked files from when I applied that patch. So I'm curious about the publish form. And oh, so you need to have the administer workspaces permission to be able to publish a workspace. I feel like that makes sense, but at the same time, I feel like publishing to live should be its own permission. Like, you know, somebody should be allowed to publish to permission, but not be able to administer workspaces. But I guess that makes sense. You don't want your content editors to click publish, but also this button shouldn't show if you have it. Let's see. I want to go create an issue for that. I mean, if we're here, like, I don't have anywhere I can quick take notes without like showing all of my private notes. So I'll just create the issue for it right away. That if a user doesn't have administer workspaces, let's see, circle that. Let's say there's no access. Let's see. Do not show the publish, right? Content button if user does not have access. Plus bug reports 9.3.x because the 3.x branch not workflows. So even though we're on actually we are on 9.3, but since the 9.3.x branch opened up, all new issues should go against the development branch, and then they can be picked backwards. 9.2 is an alpha, which means that they are supporting bug fixes. So there's a chance that if this got fixed, maybe it would get committed to 9.3 and then maybe picked back to 9.2 based on the I think experimental modules can always have bug fixes added. There's certain rules on the different phases, like between alpha, beta, and then RC. When logged in, when a user does not have permission to administer workspaces, they see the publish content. I want to put quotes in it since it's a button, but get access denied. This is a confusing user interface experience. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to upload. No, cannot drag and drop. That would have been a bad mistake. What I kind of want to write is, so there's Dreditor, which is how I get this embed button. It's an old browser extension. I kind of want to write a browser extension that makes this issue summary work like a GitHub with Markdown, and it converts it to HTML for you. So you can do like a drag and drop and an embed, like you drag in the image, it automatically uploads it and attaches it for you. That'd be a fun idea. No, I don't have the time for it. Let's also attach the permissions. I want to get a better example of it. Set up the following permissions. Create content on stage. Try to deploy. Access denied. So let's upload this image as well. If you notice the hula skirts and luau themed images in my downloads, that is because my wife makes cookies and needed to come up with some cookie cutters for her. 934, 7. And that's what's in the background, hopefully not making too much noise, is the 3D printer we bought to create cookie cutters for her, because on Etsy those cookie cutters are like $4 or $5 a pop, and we've bought like so many cookie cutters. So this is our cost saving workaround. Hide button if no permission. You know, let's see if we can do this. How hard this would be to fix. Right now, live. So let's look for this text, current workspace, workspace list builder, if active workspace, manage workspace, if workspace has parent, publish. So one thing I did notice is that the link URL is that Drupal doesn't automatically run access checks on routes in this area. So let's try just moving this publish form URL equals that. And we'll do publish form URL. We're going to change this to be access to publish form URL access, which is a Boolean. And I feel like we should probably put cacheability on this, but maybe I'm just going to copy that text and we will get, oh, it didn't, oh, because we have to do, we have to generate the URL to get cacheability metadata on it. We'll just do this. So if I refresh and I click stage, we just see managed workspace. I can edit it because I granted that permission. Although I feel like this is just a bigger bug all around probably, because any of these URLs like active workspace, the link, if they don't have the ability to edit it, like if I click on here, if I turn off edit any, and I refresh, oh, that doesn't even let me expand. That's not what I wanted. All right. Well, let's just toss this up as a core patch, and we'll see what the maintainers think. I feel like type link with access. Current user has permission. Yeah, I think everything always manually calls a permission check, which ties, which I don't necessarily like, because that ties away the access from the actual like router, which knows the access. Because if we did our own access check here, if we changed access to this publish form, it would be completely separated. Like if we change this to be like a publish workspaces permission, our code here would be broken. So we'll just pop this up as an issue fork and see what the maintainers think. So if you haven't done that before, here's how you can contribute to core without actually downloading any of the code to do so. So we'll do create issue fork. We're going to wait for this Ajax operation to finish up. It's completing. Behind the scenes, let's see if it is checking the GitLab instance to see if the fork has been created. It says started. It's taking a little bit. I'm assuming forking core probably takes quite a bit of time. Here we go. Is that something? No, that's New Relic. Well then, that's taking longer than I expected. So that's what's going on with the Workspace Plus module. It helps restrict down the ability to what workspaces they can go to. Drupal core doesn't have very strong query access, or like being able to like alter a query and remove the access. The entity API module really improves that, but not so much in core. One thing. Oh, sorry. Where's Workspace Plus? I'm going to open a entity query. Does this do an entity query alter? No. So what? I'm going to make a where's this list? Load. Loads the tree. Does an off canvas render. One thing I'm going to make an issue for this. No, not milestones. Ensure live workspace does not render if user does not have access to it. Not sure if user should be denied access to switching to live, but if they are, they shouldn't see the button. So I guess that's one concern I have here, is that we got our fork, is that you can't even switch to live, and I feel like you should be able to go view live content but not be able to edit in live. So at any given time you should be able to click live, see the live site, but then if we were in I'm so silly, on my Friday live stream I was wondering why access permissions didn't run. I was in user ID 1, which user ID 1's like root and bypasses all access checks. So I wasted a bunch of time wondering why that didn't work, because I forgot a core Drupalism. Now I lost my train of thought because that just dawned on me. But what should happen is, if an author is on what I feel like should happen is, when you're on the live site, there should be no edit, there should be no delete, there should be no layout, and no translate. Like, the only thing you should be able to do in live is view and look at the revisions. And even then, for revision, it should just be able to browse that revision. There should be no revert. Like, these would be empty. In my ideal world, that's what Workspace would provide, is that you would only be able, like, the live site is immutable. You can only view it, and you have to make changes in a workspace that then is published up. We've got our branch here, and I'm just going to quick toss up this fix to at least start the conversation. So merge content. I feel like that's probably got to be, yeah, active workspace. They have access to it. Publish. So let's look for this string. So we're going to open the GitLab Web IDE. And let's search for a file, which is the Workspace List Builder. There should be a way to... No. Oh, I thought you could like search files. Oh, no. Why did it go backwards? There we go. I thought there's a way to be able to browse more easily. So we go to Works, Core, Modules. Let's go to Workspaces. Workspace List Builder. I'm going to find that string. And basically, I'll just copy the entire if statement. I'm going to make a commit. Hide publish for workspace if no permission. Now, there's a major problem with this commit, and it's the fact that I didn't add a test. That's the one thing that would be extremely hard to do with the web IDE is write the test. I could write it locally and then edit it, but this at least gets a conversation started. So I'm going to change it to needs review because I want somebody to review this proposal. I know it will probably get kicked back to needs work that it needs a test, but you know, I just want to at least get the conversation started here. So overall, the Workspace Plus module that I referenced here, it does a lot of cool things, but I think it needs some roughing around the edges. I'm sure it works great for their client, like most modules do. This is especially cool that when somebody logs in, it forces them into the staging environment versus live. I like that. It works around some kinks with the file entity, it looks like. It again allowed me to work with Layout Builder without having too many regressions, I think. I never saw the list to be able to deploy individual content, and I ended up deploying like a broken, like an unpublished piece of content. My block content was hidden, and I don't know if that's just a Workspace bug or not. But overall, it's pretty neat, and I want to find more of these Workspace contrib so we can get Workspaces to really take off. And I think Contrib is one of the best incubators. Yes, we need to improve core, of course, but Contrib lets us see like the full capabilities of it. So I was really excited to see that. If you have any Workspace modules that you're using or ideas, let me know. I will be making my own Contrib called the, not redesign flag, but I'm going to call it Workspace theme. And what this does is based off of the current theme, it will change, or based off the current workspace, it will change your active theme. So if you're working on a website redesign, you don't need to just only do it on your staging site. You could do it in your production site in a workspace to see how your theme looks with live content and do it much more iteratively and have better review process. So I know I'm going to make a workspace theme module and tidy this up and post it on Drupal.org. So thanks for joining me on this Monday morning. I hope you have a great week, or if you're in Europe, I hope you had a good Monday and have a good rest of your week. Bye.